Morning guys, day after Halloween. Absolutely love Halloween. There's something about it, it's almost like a break from the norm. The saddest thing about that is I own all of those items. I didn't have to go out and buy anything. They were actually in our fancy dress drawer. We've got one of those. Strange people. Today I'm going to talk about nutrition. It's going to be an informal discussion about my nutrition, and I'm also going to share my opinions on the Game Changers documentary on Netflix. I hope you enjoy the video. The tunes are absolutely banging. So the best part about half term is training at midday. I mean, you've got Friday especially, you've got Radio 1 with their greatest hits or their anthems. Then you've got History at 11, training between 11 and 12. It's just living the dream. So let's get some pre-workout in me. Banger after banger. Bieber's on the mix. I don't care what anyone says, Bieber is the man. He might not be the man, but his music is good. His music is very good. A lot of people will pre-workout from one jar, one tub. Mine is a little bit more complicated. This isn't saying that this is the best way to do it, but this is the way that I do it. So I'll quickly show you just a tower of pre-workout. So there's all the ingredients there. It's in a small bit of water because I find that the more potent it is, the more directly it impacts me. It might just be a placebo thing. And then coffee, it has to be barista grade. So I've got my little tools on there. I'm using at the moment, actually imported. So this is espresso from Lidl in Croatia, from my stag do. So that's still going. And I'll quickly show you my DeLonghi machine. Turn it round. That is the beast of the DeLonghi that I've got. If you want any more kind of information on this product, just give me a DM. So, Friday training, switching up a gear. It is a push session today. Compliments of School of Calisthenics for the mobility and the flexibility of the shoulders, and then Revival Strength, Marcus Philly, functional bodybuilding, strength and endurance piece. So it's going to be good. Supporting the boys. What a sight, the garage gym. Can't go wrong, can ya? Plates, York. Just a beautiful sight. An absolute pleasure to spend time in you today. Starting today's workout with a School of Calisthenics mobility and flexibility drill. So this here is deep tissue massage on the anterior and posterior of the shoulder, moving into the chest, then working onto the lats, so a banded stretch, about a minute sitting in those positions. Progressing into a seated shoulder extension, moving the hips away to create a greater demand and range of motion on the shoulders. Then into the YTWs, as you can see here. So I start on a Y, go into a T, and then a W. Forehead pushed into the mat to ensure that the mobility comes from the shoulders, not from the lower back. Then moving into push-ups to get the scap stability and shoulder strength. Pulls to make sure your pulling patterns are correct. And then round the world, so an extra little bit of focus on that shoulder stability. Now moving into the workouts. The workout was shoulder focus, it was push focus. So here I'm doing a clean from the floor, hand clean. And then finishing with some overhead presses. So we've got 3, and I'll perform this every minute for 8 minutes. Second exercise is an overhead press, and I'm aiming to hit between 4 and 6 reps. This is also an EMOM, as it's time efficient, and I'll do 8 minutes again. Moving to the next, I'll concentrate on some isolated work, so some single arm pushing. I've got Arnold Z press here, focusing on hitting 12 to 15 reps on each arm. Not repping to failure, making sure I've got 3 reps left in the tank. Before I move on to the conditioning element of today's workout, I'll finish off with some scapular control and shoulder stability work with Turkish get up. For this exercise, I'll aim to hit 5 to 7 reps per arm. For the conditioning element, I'm working in 5 rounds. It's a grinder with no rest between, so you can see that I did a side plank, into handstand push-ups, straight into alternating dumbbell snatches, and I'll aim for about 5 to 6 reps per arm. This is definitely taxing on the shoulders and puts your shoulders under fatigue. Back into my side plank on the opposite side. These will be for 20 seconds, and finish off with a kettlebell loaded front rack for 20 meters, and this really works the scapular control. Today's training is done. This week's training is done. Took a slight deviation from training this week, so back into my strength phase next week. A well-earned rest day tomorrow after 6 days on it. Going back into a 3-day split. Less reps, more rest time, but now it's time to nourish my body with some good calories. Don't usually prep, but this is leftovers from dinner last night. Gives me most excited about it. Rather than a protein shake, I've got carbs, protein, some healthy fats in there. So this is going to be a lot more nutrient dense than any protein shake, and it's also going to keep me full for longer. So this is going to be now, and then see how many more meals I can get down me today. What do you think, Gizmo? Uninterested. Second meal of the day, more complex carbohydrates. So I've got organic oats. I've got 4 scoops of those with the trusty bulk powder scooper. We've also got raspberries. I'm going to finish the bag with those. Frozen raspberries. Frozen blueberries. I'm going to go for a scoop of those as well. This is such a good idea, guys. Get yourself your protein scooper and put it in any of your food choices that you use that are in bags. It just saves having to measure stuff out, and you know that every time you do that, it's going to be 50 grams of that product. So this is a warmed up combination of rice milk, because I had it on reduced, and almond milk. So these are going to go in here. I'm going to put some toppings, and I'll show you what the end product looks like. So it looks like disaster in a bowl pretty much, but it tastes unbelievable. We've got the ingredients that are listed, and we've also got banana, raw cacao powder, chia seeds, you can see them there. And it's just a combination of nutrients, and that's what we're looking at. We're looking at different nutrients, trying to get as many nutrients dense calories into your body as you can, because this is what's going to repair the cells that need repairing. Okay, so I'm going to do a little bit of a walk and talk to change scenery. Oh, probably never seen me in anything but shirtless or gym gear. Got the mushroom coffee on the go, quadriceps, get the brain functioning so I can spew out some rubbish. I'm not a professional. When it comes to nutrition, it's best to seek nutritional advice from a professional if you're someone who's really concerned about the way you're eating. The way I'm going to approach it is I'm going to look at carbohydrates, fats and protein. I'm going to talk about them, how they relate to me. I feel that nutrition as a whole is far too complex for me to cover in 5 to 10 minutes of this video. You need to seek further insights into it by doing your own research, but I'll just explain how it relates to me, and hopefully you can take some little gems away from that. Then I'm going to move on to discussing the Game Changers documentary and take my opinion on that with a pinch of salt. So let's get into it. Nothing better than being out in nature, spending a little bit more time out in nature. So lucky to live in a county with so much greenery. Okay, time to walk and talk. Slowly losing the light thanks to the winter months, but without winter you wouldn't have Christmas. Who thought this was a good idea? My feet are actually getting soaked right now. So the best way to describe my diet is it is a whole food diet. I will try and stay away from any processed food and refined sugars and things like that. I don't add sugar to anything. The only time that I'll ever have something that's quite similar to sugar is on Eat What You Want Day, and after exercise I'll sometimes have dextrose, just for the impact on protein synthesis. But other than that, I'll stay away from refined carbohydrates. I'll stick to whole food. So I went through a phase of kind of a paleo diet or a keto diet, because I was loving the fact that I could eat fatty salads without having to eat carbohydrates. I was slightly scared of carbohydrates, but I've got a much better relationship with carbohydrates now. Pretty much every lunch I have will be a salad. And I've started adding carbohydrates to it now, so I have salad and wholemeal carbs in the form of quinoa and brown basmati rice, and I'll also have nice complex carbohydrates in the form of starches like sweet potatoes, but plenty of fruit, plenty of vegetables, and these are kind of the staple of my diet. You can never really overdose on carbohydrates through eating vegetables. Top vegetable sources at the moment: sauerkraut, loving sauerkraut. The positive impact that it has on the microbiome and the gut bacteria is unbelievable. Apparently, there's research that states that it can help you to gain muscle, but you're gonna have to do that research for yourself. At the moment, I'm eating loads of spinach. There's so many nutritional properties coming out of spinach, and like I said, the list is endless, and I couldn't do it justice right now. I'm just a PE teacher. You're gonna have to do that research for yourself. So the way I approach nutrition is vegetables first, then fruit, then carbohydrates and healthy fats, and then protein. If you approach it this way, you're bound to get in all the nutrients your body needs. Your body runs, it's a very complex system that runs on micronutrients and macronutrients. The macronutrients we use that we all know are the fats, the protein, the carbohydrates. The micronutrients are those that have a direct impact on our cells' ability to function properly. The way that I approach it is I look for healthy whole food sources. So I'm on a whole food diet, always going for things that I can prepare and make. I'll never go for a substitute or a packet that will just be put in the fridge, put in the freezer, pull out and cook. It will always be prepared from scratch, and this way I know what's going into my body. It's all healthy, none of it's refined, none of it's got preservatives in it. The ingredients on the list are just the main source. For example, you buy broccoli, the ingredients are broccoli. You buy any fruit, the ingredients are the fruit. You don't have 52 ingredients, because that to me just spells bad luck. Next thing is fat. Fat is so important. A lot of people give it a bad rap because it's so dense in calories. 1 gram of fat is 9 calories. It's just in moderation. It's my favourite food by far. I love nuts, I love seeds, I love coconut oil, I love olive oil. So I love fat, to be honest, and it's all unsaturated fat. Finally, protein. People get transfixed on this macronutrient like they need it, it's life or death. I heard recently that we only need 56 grams or something of protein per day. Some people are on 202 grams of protein, and I'm guilty of that, I must admit. But if you dissect a day of eating, you'll see that protein comes from so many things. For example, in a yogurt, you'll get maybe 7 grams of protein. In a bowl of oatmeal, you'll get a certain amount of protein. It's not always having to get that steak or that tin of tuna or 17 eggs or things like that. It's about looking at your diet holistically, making sure you're having whole foods. If you're having whole foods, in a whole food, they have nutrients, they have macronutrients, so they'll have, a lot of the time, they'll have protein in them. So moving on to the Game Changers documentary, very controversial topic, and I can see their side of the story. Some people say it's propaganda, some people say it's scaremongering, but in an extremist view, I can see where you're coming from in those two statements. But from me personally, I feel that a whole food, plant-based diet is a better diet, and hear me out. On a plate, I might have spinach, arugula, bok choy, tomatoes, cucumbers, spring onions, avocado, sweet potato, and then a protein source. Tell me how that isn't plant-based. How many plants are on that plate? And the protein source is 1. So you can see where it comes to. If you dissect it and think of it that way, laterally, it makes sense. I have been on a plant-based diet for however long. The majority of my calories going into me are vegetables, fruit, whole grains, and the protein is an added bonus. So this is where I agree with it, but at the same time, I'm not going to be that guy who, I'm vegan, I'm vegetarian, this is me, I'm in a box, everyone should follow this because there's no other way. Because 1, it's restrictive, 2, it's not good for your mental health, 3, it alienates you when you go out to eat, it alienates you in social groups, it alienates you in loads of other ways. It's an identity, I feel. It's something that I definitely agree with when it comes to the nutritional side of it. If someone put in front of me though, a burger or a vegan burger, what is the nutritional value in both of those two? If that one is processed and that one's processed, which one do I choose? And this is where the topic gets a little bit cloudy. So after watching the Game Changers documentary, I put up this tweet. Then I read this research and it cemented my thought process. If you're eating whole foods and whole grains, that's healthy. If you're eating something that is a version of a whole food that's got 22 ingredients in it, that is unhealthy. It's processed. Processed food is not healthy for you. No matter when you eat it, how you eat it, processed food is unhealthy. Whole grain, whole food, where the ingredients are labelled as just the product itself, that's what's healthy for you. So people that are vegetarian and vegan and plant-based that are eating processed foods, I'm sorry, but you've taken the wrong information from there. You're saving the planet, maybe. You're saving animals, definitely, but you're not saving yourself. So that's something you really need to think about. My take-home message from this is, if you're someone who is passionate about health, nutrition, staying healthy for longer, having a long health span, living at 90, not living to 90, you need to adopt this plant-based diet. And by plant-based diet, or plant-based way of eating, or plant-based nutrition, I mean that the majority of your calories going into your body needs to come from plant sources, and unrefined, unprocessed plant sources. It's simple. Make yourself a salad more often. Your plate shouldn't have one green on it. Your plate should be filled 3/4 with greens or a half with greens. That's simple. When you're picking food choices, they don't always have to be meat protein sources. They could be lentils, beans, legumes, chickpeas. It makes no difference. The taste is the same. It's just about limiting processed foods, limiting saturated fats, and that will maintain health for longer. One more thing I want to cover. One of my buddies, he asked me about cheat days. So cheat days serve a purpose. I believe they said serve two purposes. So what the first purpose for a cheat day is, if you're on a calorie restricted diet, you're reducing carbohydrates and you are depleting glycogen, you will need a cheat day. But what you'll need on that cheat day is carbohydrates, not saturated fats, not loads of crap that will inflame you and make you feel like rubbish and not serve a purpose except for allow you to gain fat and your body become full of inflammation. Second thing I believe a cheat day is good for, or a cheat meal is good for, is psychological. So if you're restricting certain foods constantly, you might feel a bit isolated. If you're going out to eat, you can never go for dessert and things like that. So a cheat meal might serve a purpose psychologically, so I definitely recommend it for that reason. You could find that you're craving a lot of things. What I normally do to combat it, I know I have eat what you want day when I'm restricting, but when I'm not, when I'm trying to gain, there's not really much point in me having to eat what you want day, so I'll tend to eat a lot of fruits on eat what you want days, because I feel that yes, there are going to be a lot of carbohydrates in those fruits, but you get more bang for your buck. They're not just empty calories. You get carbohydrates, but you also get loads of nutrients with those. So fruit is definitely the way to go. Another thing that I'll often do as well is I'll have lots of nuts and dark chocolate and seeds, because although they don't sound great, if you put them in a trail mix, that's a lot of calories there. But like I said, you're getting calories, but you're also getting a lot of nutrients as well. So you're not just eating things that are crap, full of calories, that give you nothing back. So that's one way that I would go about cheating, if you call it cheating, refueling. And that's about it. That's all I've got on the topic. I'll do a video in time about a little bit more deeper into the science. This is just a general opinion, so it's like I said, it's an informal discussion on how I feel about nutrition and how I feel on certain aspects of nutrition, what I deem is healthy and unhealthy. All it is personal. I'm not a scientist, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nutritionist, so this is just my thoughts and opinions. What I will say though is, if you want to deem whether something's healthy or not, you want to look at how many nutrients you're going to get from eating that product, ingredient, and how many antioxidants are you going to get, because that's how we deem if something's healthy or not. If it's got antioxidants in it, you're going to combat oxidative stress, you're going to reduce inflammation, and you're going to reduce any health conditions in the future by eating more antioxidant rich foods. So that's it, I'll finish with that. Hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Let me know if you want me to cover any more topics, and until next time, peace.